Good day, y'all. I've been thinking about this video for a bit. It's kind of a annoying topic after a while, because it is the Matrix, if you will. But it is everything to wake somebody up, so to speak, or to pull them out of the satanic delusions around us in a way that is not drastic. Now, when people come out of addictions, oftentimes they need to taper off so as not to harm themselves, because the body would have difficulty coping with a drastic change. But this is something that it's all around us, like I said. It's the Matrix. It's the number one conspiracy, because it's likely in your family, and if it's not, it's definitely around you. Now, I'm not somebody who's this world traveler per se. I've been to a few other countries, but in my walk of life, it seems pretty consistent across the board wherever I go. And so I have a way, or I thought about this quite a bit, a way to help somebody along that's sensitive and likely ensconced in the world in some way or another. So I would start with this Simon Woods video, which is actually referencing another person, this Tara person, her video, The Real Purpose of Finishing Schools for Women, because that, in my eyes, is a logical leaping point for discussion. Why do we have these all boys, all girls schools? Isn't that a bit strange? And as you'll see in this video, a fantastic one. I think this is the first video you show somebody who's completely blindsided by what's going on. You know, a sheep with headphones on and wearing those swirly glasses, just, lost. Because it brings about the obvious question: why are women training to be women when they can do so naturally, innately? And you find that all of them have masculine features, or the vast majority do, and they don't really hide it that well in much of the way they talk about it. It's pretty mind-blowing, but it's always been in our faces. I grew up in a town where many of my quote-unquote public school peers, and some, I guess you could say, frenemies, went off to all boys schools or all girls private schools. And when we got to high school ages and even middle school ages in some cases, and it was strange. It was a bit odd. But that is the essence of it, is they're learning how to be the opposite, catcher in the rye. And I think this is where you start. Simon Woods got a lot of videos on phony gematria stuff, but he also puts out a lot of good content. And this one is the one I would start with. Then I think you've got to go to RFTK Ohio, when he read a subscriber from Europe, a woman's account of growing up in trans land like we all have. And it's stirring. The first time I heard it, I cried, because it's the experience. Why do we have to go through this? Why is the whole society like this? Why isn't it more even keel? I'm not even saying, I've said this multiple times, that it should just be like the regular men and women standards held up. I mean, we don't have just that, so wouldn't it make sense to hold everybody up in some regard? And what you see in the world is it's completely tilted the opposite direction. And I guess it has to be like this. I mean, I don't know. I'm just a little ant in a maze, a little human, little person. But this video It's as is. It's very much what I experienced growing up. And yes, it wasn't every trans person that treated me poorly, but many did. And some of my most quote unquote traumatizing experiences were always involved with these people with dead shark eyes, unfeeling, hated me for being alive. People, it's sick, and I think people need to open up to this because it's often framed the opposite direction. It's always framed the opposite direction, where the trans person is besmirched or assaulted or whatever. I'm not denying that happens, but this is an important video. This is when discussing what it's like growing up in this crazy world. And then you could go to something like this where it's literally all the celebrities and it's this montage, quick video of just something like that you would see like on Entertainment Tonight or something ridiculous. Where yeah, you see this like montage of celebs and it's like they're all flipped, and it's just the ultimate pull you out of Hollywood's maze, Alice in Wonderland programming, whatever you want to call it. You're in it if you continue to watch it and watch it and watch it and stir around it. And then this one's a good video on skull training. He puts the male and female skull superimposes it over the celebrity's face or person's face, and then shows how the eyes don't. It's really easy stuff. When you, it's not hard. And truly, people talk about T-vestigating in an easy way. If you can get good with the eyes, they can't do anything with that. So that's a really easy way to tell right away. Usually you can, unless they've got quite the disguise. I'm wearing masks a lot of the time, so this is another good one to keep in the off of Next Wex. Posts a lot of interesting stuff. Now I don't know these people, I can't vouch for them, but I will say these videos have helped me come to terms with things and have helped me see past illusions. And yeah, knowing that they literally are characters through and through wearing a mask. It's not even what they look like underneath. And yeah, I've said, I mean, it's just the obvious. They're reptiles. They're cold-blooded snake. Like, makes sense. Snakes are I think about it. It's a peculiar thing. Reptiles, snakes, having held them and been around them, they're the only animal I think I've been around and been near. And I must be wrong for feeling this way, but I feel in my heart, only animal I've been around that it's just cold. Like, not even any other reptiles. Sometimes even with crocodiles, I like look at them and I feel a little something. Snakes are the only one where I'm just like, it would eat me if it was 10 times its size, no doubt. Like, it's not even gonna stop. And it's ridiculous, but yeah, people are not who they say they are on this world stage. They're all wearing masks. I posted this one recently, the foot binding, going into some of the procedures and surgeries that they're doing and how it's commonplace in my town. The biggest billboards are related to like fake teeth, dental stuff, and liposuction, and what else is there? There's a big cosmetic surgery place, like whole cosmetic surgery block, I should say, plaza, really, or maybe even campus at the northern part of my town, and it's it's disgusting. It's so people are so vain. They don't want to just eat well. They have to go around it and live. Excuse me. On this conveyor belt of contorting your skin for some ridiculous appeal that ultimately is body dysmorphia. It's ridiculous, but it's also part of the cult, and various there's various layers to it. Like, some people are probably all in, other people maybe they had to do some when they were little and they stopped. I mean, I don't know, but it goes on and it's messed up. tracheal shaving, eyebrow scars for brow ridge implants, chin scars, chin implants, jaw implants. It's really sick. I'm fortunate. I've never broken a bone. I've only went to the hospital for my daughter being born, which I told that story is BS. We didn't want to do that. And then me falling through a glass table when I was in middle school playing basketball video game with my friend of me, classic bully, and I was beating him, so I fell through, bouncing on the glass pane, and I fell through, and then looked around to see if the glass had punctured my butt. Thank goodness it hadn't, but a shard was right in my right foot, and I had to get 7 stitches in my foot, and yeah, it's recovered now, but that's the only thing I've ever had to go to the hospital for. It's just weird, all the procedures that they do. It's crazy, but if you know them, yeah, this is the hard part. Yeah, the MTF facial feminization. That is one of the hardest videos I've ever watched. I mean, one of the most difficult videos I've ever watched. I cannot fathom why the people do this to themselves. It's insane. They don't love themselves. They don't love God. They go against it. They think that they have to transform themselves. It's insane. It's such a big theme in everything. They have to go through this ugly butterfly transformation, but it's this falsely induced one. You go through it naturally. You're not supposed to have someone cut you up or whatever. It's insane. But they do it. A lot of them do it. And then the voice feminization and masculinization. Yeah, it's an interesting video. I mean, looking into how, like, oh, no, she's a girl because she sounds like a girl. How could she be? It's like, check this out. Really listen to them. Because I feel like even with this feminization, masculinization, the skeleton still is very clear. There's never been anybody in my life that I'm like, like now looking at them for what they are, what their skeleton is. It's like, yeah, you've always sounded like that. You've been putting on a voice. So, but they're important videos, and I think something to show early on, and somebody trying to educate somebody on all this. Illusion magic, a big part of it. Another Pod's video that I listened to many times throughout the years, because it is amazing that we didn't figure it out for so long. And yeah, it's talking about the tricks that they use, and it's creepy. And then I haven't posted this one on the site. I should post it, put it on YouTube, just because it's not on YouTube right now. Bathos gonna bath. Yeah, their behavior, how they act, crude, rude, mean, cold, never ask you any positive questions, never want to aid in your quest. I mean, we're all in the same quest, but you know what I mean? Like, get to know your world a little bit, and if they do, it's very superficial, and they'll turn it back to theirs. It's just, I'm so bored of it. Every single person I talk to, not every single, most people I talk to, it is, what are you up to? What are you doing? What's going on? And it doesn't advance because they don't care in my direction. They won't go in it. And it could be an age thing where most of my clients are older people, and just naturally things lean in that direction. But it's really sickening. And it's often this. It's just, that's what they are. That's how they behave. Yeah. And yeah, they're negative and aggressive. It's crazy. So then, yeah, I just reposted these, being human in T-land. I mean, there's so much. I mean, they don't tell us anything. And yeah, the various aspects of what it's like to be outside of this crazy cult of people that have always been acting around you. But you haven't been. You've been a witness to this puppet show. What a strange place. But then there's there's another sheep in the room, and you gotta look at them and be like, do they understand this whole thing? Are they just as duped as I was, or I am now? I mean, I'm still duped of many things. I'm not in this freakish club. I'm not saying they know everything, but I feel like we're in a good place now. Like, Snow Global called it the gold mine of truth. It feels like that in many ways, where once you know all these things, yes, there's a deep sadness that comes of it. You can go to Psalms. Psalms is great. Um, but at the same time, there's this resolute direction where you can really only pay attention to your intimate life right now, the waves that are right in front of you, the clouds that are right in front of you, people that are right in front of you. This whole circus act has been going on for a long, long time, hundreds of years. I mean, ever since they've had kings or queens that weren't in Jesus Christ, it's obvious, right? Because we're all united, we're all one under God. I mean, with God, I maybe use that because that's their terminology, with God, or part of God. And, dealing with a bunch of opposites, knockoffs, people that are mean for no reason. It's crazy. Same along these same lines. Speak about truth on 1 and 2. And yeah, that playlist has other things on there, has some like more of their hand sign and other weird posturing, what that means. And it's helpful to know these things, but you don't want to get too deep into it. And that's like, there's that quote out there for psychedelics. What's the Ram Dass, whatever. I'm not going to attribute to him, just in general quote of once you get the message, put the phone down. And that's like, obviously for psychedelics, once you understand the depth of it, what it means, how you can, then you don't really need to use it, do you? Because you understand it. You gather what's the message. You don't need to keep hearing the message over and over again. But I think that at least at this point in my life, I think that doesn't equate for me. But there's other things in life where that does. Once you get the message, don't do it anymore, or give up the thing. So like for me, this is a big part of me releasing this, feeling the need to transvestigate people. And my partner will meet friends around town and be like, "Can you look at this person? I'm like, I'm sick of this. It's so ridiculous. Test the spirits. Testing the spirits is freedom." And that's a video unto itself, but it's the truth. Testing the spirits is freedom. When you really think about it, you're completely free because you're you entirely. You're not making premonitions. You're not looking at somebody based on their appearance and their everything and saying, you know what, there's a little bit of God in everybody, and I can potentially turn a goat into a sheep. I know that's the freedom. You can't. I've had too many days where I've been, thinking about other people and being like, I have no control of any of this stuff. It's just sitting there and like, it's bad energy. I've got to pull out of that. And this is a way to do it, is to say, there's a way to guide people through this that is going to aid them in their journey, ultimately our collective journey to see the truth and be our best versions of ourselves, unencumbered by the satanic pollutants that were thrust upon us. Some people, music is a very big force, and for me, having to give up certain artists because the lyrics and the feeling they gave off was so overwhelmingly negative, suicidal, depressing, that it put me in a bad state of mind, and I had to put that stuff down. So these videos are important to bring awareness to those that their head must be, as mine was before I understood all this, and I've been more and more grounded every day since. Your head spins when you don't. Yeah, that's Satan. You gotta like. That's what it is. It's a crazy carnival, CC33, and you don't have to be a part of it. And when you aren't, and you really sit with it for a while, my experience, things are smoother, everything's nicer, you're less clouded, you're more direct, you're happier because you're not concerned about falsities, and being of God, deep down before you knew all this, that this world was fake. It's just always been the same. It's always been like this for as long as, like the Victorian era. I mean, for a long time, since the people that are alive today have been alive. And that's why when it comes to things like time, I think it's gotta be relative. it's We're in the same place pretty much when I was born 30 something years ago. There's always been these crazy acts all around. Since America's been known, all this is fake. Everything's fake. And then but then knowing that, you get this refined lens into nature and God's world, and you don't even bother with this phony baloney, uh, piss poor show. It, it doesn't even register anymore because it's like, yeah, it's too garish and unnecessary. So this is a good way to wake people up or bring them to awareness on what we're going through. All right. Well, y'all have a swell day, and I look to talking to you soon.